Today we're going to talk about how to create a simple programmatic website using Airtable, Make, and WordPress. A programmatic website is creating a large quantity of pages based on data, replicating the same page template, which allows you to create many different variations of the same page. For example, today we're going to use some sample information that we've downloaded from the US Census, which has, I think, something like 32,000 different town and city names in the US. I've simplified the information to make it easier to view, but we have an estimate of income in the town or the name of the city, plus the state, and also an estimated population. We're going to use this to then create a website on WordPress that has the same page template over and over again, which will help you if you want to rank for long tail keywords on Google or just create an interesting site to start with. We've used this information because it's pretty easy to understand. We'll upload it into Airtable. I'll show you the process of connecting it to WordPress, making the make automation, and then running it. The benefit of this is that you can do something and try it very quickly, see how it works, try to get it ranked, and experiment with different ways of creating SEO content. The downside to WordPress is once the post or page has been created on WordPress, it's very difficult to edit the template. You can edit the template of the colors, the typeface, the font sizes, but actually changing how the text is laid out on the page is very difficult. In future videos, we'll talk about how using Webflow makes this easier, because Webflow, you can create one template that you then put the data in and you can change the design and the inputs. But today, this is the easiest, straightforward way to use no code to create a programmatic website. So the first step is to take the content or the data that we have in Excel, and we're going to add it to our Airtable base. So we're going to come in here, programmatic population, upload one file. There's not many columns, but as I said, there's a lot of records. So let's see, so create a new table. Yep, it's picked up the correct information that we need. So let's import that. As we're doing that, let's take a look at the make automation that we've created for this. I'll include the JSON, the blueprint, in the notes on YouTube. But basically, we connect it to Airtable, so we're going to connect it to this base. This is how we would create a featured image in WordPress, because for SEO, they like to have a featured image. You then create a media item using this featured image, create the post and link to the featured media item, and then you come through to Airtable again and tick a box that says that it's uploaded it. Being able to tick a box in Airtable means that you won't upload the same piece of content twice. Let's have a look. It's still going in Airtable. So let's have a look at the WordPress setup. This is a straightforward WordPress. I use something called OpalStack, which allows you to create an unlimited amount of WordPress websites and domains. I've just set up a simple subdomain for this. There's a number of things you need to do in WordPress to make sure that the make connection works. One of which is installing the make plugin. So if we go in here, Make has changed their name in the last couple of years. It used to be called Integromat, but it's here. You can also search by Integromat, but you install Make sure that that is activated. The second thing you want to do for SEO is install Yoast. Again, that'll just help you get ranked. It creates a sitemap, which you can then add to Google. But if we install Yoast as well, that's a key step. Another step to make sure that the make connection and run through the first time configuration. The next thing actually is permalinks. If you don't change the permalinks, the articles or the blog posts will not get uploaded onto WordPress. It'll error out. So you can just choose this. If you want to get more clever, you do blog/post name, or if we're doing this, it's census data, whatever it is, but we'll create blog. That'll be a custom structure. Make sure to save that. A couple other things to prep WordPress. you need to go in, if you're going to create posts, do it in this posts. If you do this in pages, do it in pages. You'll come in here and basically you need to set a meta title and meta description to start just as a test. So if we come down here and we're just going to delete this, test, test, hit save. The reason that you need to do that is because when you come out again and you go to the make settings, if you look at the custom API fields, these two now show up. If you haven't created a meta title and meta description in posts, then these won't show up. So you click save, and this will allow you now to map this information in make. So if we go back here, great, the Airtable information has uploaded. You can probably delete this table if you want, just to be clear. So now you have the imported table and the grid view. There's a couple things we want to prep. As we said, we want to tick the posts that are created. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to do checkbox and we're going to write uploaded, create field. I typically then create a second grid view down here that's called uploaded. Just do that, create a new view. There's no filters, so it doesn't matter currently. But what we're going to do here is we're going to change this and we're going to create a filter that says uploaded is ticked. And because none have been uploaded right now, there'll be nothing there. And then this one, we're going to create a filter that says uploaded is not ticked. The reason that we're going to do this is when make reads this, it reads by grid view. So if it's looking at this grid view, it will upload this. But if it goes through and uploads one, you tick it, it removes it from the list. It'll do next one, next one, next one. And what this means is that make tends to time out, especially with large pieces of data. And so when it stops and you restart it, you want to know that this is the next record that needs to go. So I'm going to come back in here, just untick these. So we're ready to go. So this is sort of the information that you need in Airtable, quite simple. You can do a lot more filtering or grouping if you need to. The information here, you could group by state, which, makes it visually slightly different. Not exactly essential, but make is great because it allows you to look at the data in different ways and create different views. So now we've set up Airtable. We've set up set up WordPress. Now we're going to come through to make. What we're going to need to do here is connect this Airtable to, so this is, I've duplicated a scenario that I've used in the past, but you're going to connect it to the Airtable that you want to use. Airtable OAuth, so we'll call this Programmatic site. Going to hit save. You then need to authenticate the information in your base to connect it. You want to connect it to the base that you want to use. You can give it access to the whole of your Airtable, but for this, just going to grant access to the Programmatic site. One thing to be aware of when you have duplicated a blueprint is that it will still keep the old information. You see these errors right here. So what you're going to have to do is go into the base and select it because it keeps the old information. So Programmatic site. You might look at this and go, okay, great, imported table is the name of what I want, but that's actually the imported table from the last Airtable that you've worked with. Choose the new Airtable. And then, over here, what you might want to do to keep it simple is call this list and upload it. And so when we come back here, the view that we want is list. So we're going to hit save on that. Sometimes the information doesn't show up when you need it, so exit out, save the scenario, and refresh it. So now we have all the information that we need to upload to WordPress. Typically, when testing, you will create a limit of 1 or 2 in here, just so you don't run thousands and thousands of records, which wastes operations, but also means that you then have to delete them all to come back again. So I'm going to select all because we do want all of this information. Going to hit save. So the next thing is you need to create a featured image. There's a couple of there's a couple of ways to do this. You could have a bunch of different images, or you could just create the same image every time. And I think if we go into Airtable, delete that, we could just create something that says, programmatic site. And we're going to put this in some nice text. Let's just do roboto. I'm going to make it white. The only reason I'm doing this is to show you how you can create a featured image. So basically going to create programmatic site. I'm going to come back to WordPress, log me out again. So let's come back in. It's because it's put a security, because I just created this. So what we're going to go to media. I'm going to add a new media file. I'm just going to take a screenshot of this just for ease. You typically want these file sizes to be small, but I'm going to just upload that. I'm going to call that programmatic site. And actually the title right now is fine. The name, title, alternative text, you can just leave it. Best practice SEO is when you upload an image, actually the file name is the same as the page or post that you want. But we're going to retroactively change this in Make, and we're going to reuse this image. So we're going to shut that down. Actually, I'm going to open this up, and we're going to take the file URL. This is assuming that you're using the same image over and over. I've built something called ULEZ Classic, which actually pulls images from a listing for cars. And so actually these are all different images that you pull in. But for this, what you're going to do is you're going to paste this URL in there, hit save. Now you're going to connect your WordPress. There's two things that are important about this. You've already put the API keys in, or you've already created the Make plugin in here, which is great. So if you come in here, you got your API key. I'll probably change this afterwards, but it's a burner site, so it's not a big deal. So you take your API key, which normally you don't want to show to anyone. You'll come in here, and you will take the API key, come back in here, click add, make it a unique name so that you can remember that it's for this website, but we'll call this programmatic site. API key goes in there. REST API base. So this is important. So you want to check up here what this does not have www in front of it. So you want to take HTTPS. Come back in here, and you want to take this URL here and paste it in there. /wp-json/. So this should be correct. If you hit save, don't want to save that, it should add it. And if it works well, it'll upload. Because I'm using a different, I've copied this blueprint, it already has the information mapped into it. But if it doesn't work, you'll be able to tell because you won't be able to see the information that you have in there, and there'll be an error. So you just need to double check that WP-JSON and make sure that you're matching the URL correctly. So if we come into here now, we're starting to map information. So this module is create a media item. So this is creating an image in WordPress that you'll then link through to the featured image when you create a post. The reason you have to do this is you can't pull an image directly from the web and put it into WordPress. You have to load it using this HTTP module first. So you want to click map. So the data comes from HTTP. File name, we're going to change this. We're going to call it, actually, let's do this quickly. So if we hit save, I'm just going to run and stop just to reload the information that's coming through. And if that doesn't work, so before you could see that it was pulling the old Airtable data in because it hadn't run, but now we have the information that we have in our Airtable. So you want the data from the HTTP, but you want the file name to come from Airtable. Because it's a descriptive title, you probably are going to want to write, if we're doing population, so the file name would be population dash city name dash state. So now every image URL is going to have a unique file name. And again, that is important because if you upload the same file name over and over again to WordPress, it will just take the newest one and it will change all of your featured images. With this, you won't be able to tell because they all look the same. But if you're uploading unique featured images to each WordPress post, you'll need to have unique file names and unique titles. So again, we're going to do population dash city name, state name. There we go. So we're going to hit save on that. So that's now creating a media item from the image that we created in WordPress. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create a post. And again, you need to make sure that you switch it to the correct one that you want to work. So programmatic site. This will load it again, and we'll keep some of the information here. So again, this is from ULEZ Classic, the one that I showed you, but we're going to delete all of that because we don't need it. We're going to delete the title because we don't need it. When you're testing, you want it to be draft to start with. You can either do draft, all drafts, and then bulk change it on WordPress, or once you're confident that everything's working right, you can go straight to publish. You've got a category. You might want to come into posts, change a category. Say programmatic again. So we're going to add new category. Have to hit save on that because when we come, we'll find the new categories. But let's just put in the title. So if we're making a programmatic site about the population, we would say the title of the post would be "What is the population of?" And then we're going to take city name, comma, state name, question mark. So this is now going to programmatically create the title. What is the population of city name, state name? And then in content, very simply, you can put HTML in here if you want. For this, I'm just showing you an example of it. So the population of was, and then we're going to take the total population as of the 2020 census. So population, blah, 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 first name, city name, state name, then the answer to that question, it's going to be a post, it's going to be a draft, going to uncategorize it. The next thing you want to do, and we come back to why we did those custom fields, is an SEO title, which again is, it could be, population of, let's say, this, and then we're just going to do the bar, and then we're going to say programmatic. This is the meta title, and this is the meta description. These can be a little bit fiddly, and again, I'm just going to take actually the same information here, which is not best practice, but we're just going to see if this works. So we're going to hit save. And then finally, we're updating a record at the end, and we're going to want to come back in here, programmatic site, and we're going to want add base, prog. So this is, again, just hooking it up again, grant access. That'll connect it here. And again, just need to make sure you're selecting the correct title, or the correct base and correct table. So we're going to do that. Load programmatic site. And then I'm going to come in here, make sure we're selected the right imported table. Boom. And again, the record ID is pulled from here. So when it pulls the first record ID, it takes this. So you map that. And then come in here and click uploaded is yes. And what that will do is when it's done, it will tick this box and move it to the uploaded list. So if we hit save on this, let me just check to make sure that we're running it just once. We are. So I'm going to run this and see what happens. Perfect. So it ran once. You can see it had no errors. So if we come in here and we go to posts, we can see what is the population of Abanda CBD, Alabama, question mark. That's the featured image that's been pulled in. Population of Abanda CDB was 192 as of the 2020 census. If we go back to the programmatic site, You can see that Abanda has been moved to uploaded. It's ticked. You can check the information, 192. We didn't do the income, but you can map that if you want to as well. So then what you would do is, you've got this long list. Come back here and you would remove the limit, hit save. Let's just check if the meta descriptions and titles worked. Yes, it did. Perfect. So meta title mapped in, meta description mapped in, which is great. I'd make one little tweak here. I'd probably come back in here, as we talked about before, and change the category posts. I'm probably just going to go ahead and publish it because I like the information. It's fine. Programmatic media item ID, which is great. Meta title, meta description. Hit save. I've now removed the limit in here, so it's it'll just keep going until it times out. If we hit save and if you hit run again, it's just going to start uploading. This is one thing. So because I have because there's 30,000 in here, it's going to take a long time, and that might actually time out. So instead, what you could do is say the limit is 1,000 to start. Hit save, run that. That'll run 1,000. If you wanted to automate that, you could run 1,000, and then you could create a schedule that every 45 minutes it runs another 1,000. So that will just keep going until it runs out of records. Turn that off, but hit run. So this will now get 1,000 records, which hopefully will load a little quicker. Great. So now you can see it's going. So that's 1, 2. So it's quite quick once it gets started. And if we go in here, you can see what is the population of Addison Town, Alabama. We go in here, see the titles, meta title, meta descriptions going, and then obviously needs some design work, but you can see the images there. And actually, the great thing about this is that if you were to download it, you can see that it has the save as population Addison Town, Alabama. So it has created the correct meta information for the image. So I'll just keep going. I'm going to stop that now because we don't need that to run. Yeah. And so if you come in here, you can see they're uploading. If you wanted to randomize the way that they're uploading, you could come in here and you could sort, because right now it's doing everything in Alabama, you could sort A to Z, or you could sort by income. So, or population, or whatever you want to do. If you want to sort by population, this will randomize what's coming up. And obviously there's not data for everything, but this would then randomize. You could go from large to small, small to large. So that is an overview of how you would create a programmatic site in WordPress. As I said, the issue once it's uploaded is you can't really change this information. But this works well as a good test case if you wanted to run an example or a trial, see if this starts to rank on SEMrush. You could then rebuild it in Webflow or look to professionalize this. The challenges is now you've got this slug set in place, and actually this slug is okay, but you could, if you wanted to, customize the slug using the slug. Let's see, yeah, you could customize the slug in here. You could just make it the name of the city, and probably city and state, because so you could do that. So that would then change the slug. But if you were ever to delete this and then restart, you'd need to make sure that the slugs stay the same. Any other questions? Let me know in the comments. I'll be sure to answer them, and hope this was helpful. Thanks.